we're leaving Istanbul now. We made an effort and got up this morning to try and miss the traffic. That's actually paid off. We've done about 15-20 kilometres, and we're on a main road like this, so we've not been hanging about. We've been doing 40 and 50 sort of mile an hour, and we still, it's such a Istanbul is so huge, it's unbelievable. You can't even tell where the city centre actually is. Anyway, we're heading now for the Dardanelles. The Dardanelles is Gallipoli, so we'll have a look around at some of the war graves. Kilometres, we just seem to be coming out of what is the built-up area of Istanbul. Bridge that you can see there, which is quite a new bridge, is called 1915 Gallipoli. It was kind of named after what I think was the peninsular war. So the roads have been fantastic so far. No.
What's that? Oh my god.
I thought you was going to go over
No,
there.
you scared me then. Oh yeah, the 1970s.
Yeah, this is on it, look, 1915. So, Gallipoli is the name for the area that we're in. Although I think we call it Gallipoli. And this peninsula, the peninsula which runs down here, is what's called the Dardanelles. There you go, this is on there, look, 1915. I don't think we'll be coming back to cross that. There's a ferry service a bit further down. which will take us across into Asia. I'm sure this is still classed as the European side. Over there will be the Asian side. So this actual body of water that we're looking at here is called the Dardanelles Strait. So if you want to check that out on the map, that's what we're running down now, or running down next. Be honest, this is the worst bit of road we've been on in Turkey, apart from how busy it was in Istanbul, isn't it?
This is chargeable and all.
Yeah, this is chargeable.
Pay for this.
It's a gorgeous day. It's still only 10 past 10 and we're 25 degrees. Could have been for possibly the Turkish dead or the British dead. The graves looked British Commonwealth, I must admit. But, we'll see. Right, this Dardanelles Strait. This is the narrowest point, and this is what they call Kilit Bahar Castle, which means Lock of the Sea. And there's a castle on the opposite side, and between the two, from like the 1400s, they could control everything that went up and down the strait. I'm not sure of how significant this was for the First World War. I've no doubt it would have been some form of a stronghold. We're going to have a quick look around. You can see the view that they would have had from here. Like I say, there's another one on the opposite side. Although this was to do with hundreds of years ago, 1400s, that there, I think they call it something like the Nars Bone. I'll look that up in a bit. La Narbonne, Narzone Bastion. That was a major defence against the Allies, the British. There were lots and lots of troops that were based here. I don't think they saw masses of action. However, when our guns fired upon it, the guns from here never stopped firing back. Always kept going, always kept running, and ultimately was part of the reason why we were defeated and stopped the British ships from travelling any further up. So we'll have a look at that bastion in a bit. But anyway, the views up here on this old castle are quite spectacular. This bit is actually underneath what we've just been stood on top of. I'm not going to dwell too much on it, but some of the weaponry. This is obviously all part of what would have been the Ottoman Empire when they ruled this area. Love the arches they've put up on the walls. And cannon. It's quite a strange fortification, to be fair. So it's all like an inner and outer wall. So you've just come from what was like an inner part or an outer part, and then most of it seems to be protecting this. But the brickwork is very strange. Red terracotta pattern that's on it. See that? But the views, you couldn't get a better view. We're just entering inside now. And, wow. Though you can't go up there, it's a shame. Let's have a look in here. Seems a bit about a guy, somebody called Cemeteries, and I'm not sure if he was some sort of explorer. I think he came from Spain, or I think joined a crusade. To have a look in that one.
Yeah.
The different types of bastion. I think Christine's above me, so we'll work our way up. Not sure of how much you can actually see of this, but this must date to the First World War. I think it's quite difficult to see. Oh no. Very dark. Difficult to see. Try and show you this suit of armour. There's more of a depiction of what life would have been like.
Sayın öğrencilerimiz, müddet içerisinde gezerlere dokunmak, sur duvarlarına çıkmak tehlikeli ve yasaktır. Ziyaret programına uymanız önemli rica olunur.
Not sure what that means. I think this is trying to depict about how important trade was. Hence the control of the straits. This is depicting what was the chief harem master in 1773. I'll have a go at pronouncing his name. It's Master Sevher Aga, who was imprisoned here. So I presume that was him. This is what would have been a real bow. That bow couldn't have been real. It must have just been ceremonial. We keep climbing this. This is the what would have been the water system, and there's an actual cistern underneath the castle where the water was drawn from. Obviously that is no more. This is the, well, which is pretty much opposite the castle where we've just been, the Namazga bastion. There's 26 of these, what some people are calling bonnets. There were quite a lot of troops that were stationed here, Turkish troops. Don't think the Allies got anywhere near here, to be fair. I think they actually got, it was right down in the south of the peninsula where they did, or landed. I think they tried to come up the Dardanelles, the straits there, and this is what they would have been met by from here. They were just shooting at the ships, and then I presume the ships were firing back. But this never gave up and never stopped firing at all. We'll see if we can find out some more about it. Fort Namazga acquired its current shape as a result of the construction work done during the reign of Sultan Abdulaziz and Sultan Abdulhamid II. Again during the same period, it was equipped with guns purchased from Germany from the Company of Krupp, which is a famous German company, between the years of 1873 and 1885. There are 16 coastal guns in total at Fort Namazga. When the naval operations of the Dardanelles actively started, 2 of them were 206 22mm, 2 of them were 240 35mm, and 5 of them were 240 22mm. 7 of them were 210 22mm guns. Amongst these guns, only 2 could be used during the attack on March 18, 1915, as the other guns could not participate in the battle due to their lack of range. The fort also housed the headquarters of the 4th Heavy Artillery Regiment under the command of Major Ahmet Kemal Bey. Fort Namazga fired only 33 shells on enemy during the naval attack of the Dardanelles. So actually what I had read before is that it never stopped firing, but it didn't shoot too many shells at all. Don't know if you can actually see that, but that's
next to glass like that.
Kind of how it looks. What would be an aerial view. So this is that main bastion, the bit that's in the middle. So we'll see if we can take a look inside here. Bastion, I think bastion was being formed. Oh, I have to get tickets from here. Okay, I've picked up a bit of information about this place. It says the fort, which was established in a way that it would see the northwest point of the strait. It was named Namazga since the soldiers performed prayer in the wide courtyard during religious holidays and Fridays. The restoration of the fort, which was heavily bombarded on March 18, 1915, was made by the Turkish Ministry of Culture in 2007. So they didn't actually... So some of the weaponry that we would have used for the spines, I think they put those on the beaches, didn't they? So troops would some of the I'll read you some of the bits and pieces that's written on here. This is Civet Passa. Okay, order number for the day 129, 19th of March 1915. Because of their gallantry and perseverance during the Allied naval attack on the Dardanelles, the commander of the 2nd Heavy Artillery Brigade, Colonel Talat, the engineer officer, Colonel Sucru, and the trainer lieutenant, Colonel Mr. Waslidlo, have been awarded the Silver War Medal of Distinguished Service each, and the transport officer, Major Nunnery, 3rd Lieutenant Nancy Ali, and the headquarters of the forts, Hilmi, the battery commander, captain at the Rumelia Mesetier Fort, and the battery commander, 1st Lieutenant Mazmi, at the Rumelia Mesetier Fort, the battery commander, Captain Mahir and at the Namazea Fort, Captain Herschel from the Anatolian Fort, and platoon commander Remzi Effendi from the Dardanelles Fort have been awarded the Silver War Medal of Merit each. And that these are the pictures of these. Yeah. There. Small binoculars are. There's a helmet. I've done those. The idea of the Allies was to about invading the around Gallipoli and the Dardanelles. Was Churchill's idea, and it was to actually make it if they could take Turkey, they could knock Turkey out of the war, who was an ally with Germany. Also, if they took Turkey, then they'd have access into the Black Sea, so we could get supplies and resupply Russia to keep the Eastern Front up. But I mean, that actually failed for Russia anyway, because they pulled out of the war, I think in 1917, I think, 1916, 1917. So there would have been no Eastern Front. However, I said we didn't really get up this far, the British. We were mostly right down on the peninsula at the end.
Donanmamız Çanakkale Boğazı'ndan geçerek bölgeyi kısa sürede denetim altına alacak ve Osmanlı'ya işgal harekatı başarıyla yürütülecektir.
Because it's not in English, isn't it? Seems a bit strange seeing somebody foreign doing the English. I think these are.
Geçişi istediğiniz gibi kolaylaştıracak. Çeşitli aşamalardan oluşan planlama çerçevesinde Osmanlı imkanlarını yerle bir elde boğaz geçişi. Yapılacak atışlarla bazı giriş kısmındaki tabelalar bombalanacak.
think they must be ships in there to some. They've got some of the uniforms.
Gallipoli yakasında bulunan Ertuğrul ve Sedülbayır tabyaları susturulacak ve boğazın iç kısımlarına girilerek tepesine kilit bayıra kadar olan merkez savunma sistemindeki tabya ve bataryalar tahrip edilecek.
Arkadaşlar neredeler?
Arkadaşlar mertebelerini buldular. 14 şehit, 24 yaralımız var. Bir sen, bir ben kaldı. İyi misin Seyit?
Mermi beni namluya sür diyor Ali, duymuyor musun? Yardım et de şu mermiyi sırtıma alayım.
Kaldıramazsın Seyit.
Seyit tarafından bulunan motion zırhlısı akıntının etkisiyle sürüklenerek Erenköy koyuna Nusret Mayın gemisi tarafından döşenen mayınlardan birine çarparak batar.
İtilaf Devletleri donanması deniz harekatından istediği sonucu alamayarak başarısız olmuştur. İtilaf Devletleri gemileri Amiral de Ruben'in emriyle akşam üzeri Çanakkale Boğazı'ndan çekilir.
Seyit, sen miydin? Vurdun gemiyi. Allah'ın izniyle. Evelallah kumandan.
Sırada kara harekatı vardır.
Çanakkale Boğazı'ndan geçerek bölgeyi kısa sürede denetim altına alacak ve Osmanlı'ya işgal harekatı başarıyla yürütülecektir.
Çanakkale Boğazı'na ordusuz bir donanmayla denizden yapılacak bir harekatın başarısı konusunda tereddütlerim var.
Boğazlardan sadece donanma hücumuyla geçmek zor görünse de birçok gemi tarafından girişilecek geniş çaplı bir harekatla savunma hatları tahrip edilebilir. Gemilerden sağlı sollu yapılacak atışlarla iki kıyıya da çok hasar vermek mümkün. Bu da geçişi istediğimiz gibi kolaylaştıracaktır. Çeşitli aşamalardan oluşan planımız çerçevesinde Osmanlı istihkamlarını yerle bir ede boğazı geçeriz. Önce uzun mesafeden yapılacak atışlarla boğazın giriş kısmındaki tabyalar bombalanacaktır. Daha sonra boğazın Anadolu yakasındaki Orhaniye ve Kumkale, Gallipoli yakasında bulunan Ertuğrul ve Sedülbayır tabyaları susturulacak ve boğazın iç kısımlarına girilerek Kepez ve Kilitbayır'a kadar olan merkez savunma sistemindeki tabya ve bataryalar tahrip edilecektir. Daha sonra ise Çanakkale ile Nara arasındaki savunma hattı ateş altına alınarak etkisiz hale getirilecek ve Marmara geçilerek İstanbul'a ulaşılacaktır. Bunun gerçekleştirilebilmesi için de harp gemilerinin güzergahında bulunan mayın hatları temizlenecektir.
Şubat 1915 günü Fransız ve İngiliz harp gemilerinin boğaz girişini savunan tabyaları bombalamalarıyla Çanakkale saldırısı başlayacaktır.
Arkadaşlar neredeler?
Arkadaşlar mertebelerini buldular. 14 şehit, 24 yaralımız var. Bir sen, bir ben kaldım.
Yine beni namluya sür diyor Ali, duymuyor musun? Yardım et de şu mermiyi sırtıma alayım.
Kaldıramazsın Seyit.
Seyit tarafından bulunan Motion zırhlısı akıntının etkisiyle sürüklenerek Erenköy koyuna Nusret Mayın gemisi tarafından döşenen mayınlardan birine çarparak patlar.
İtilaf Devletleri Donanması, deniz harekatından istediği sonucu alamayarak başarısız olmuştur. İtilaf Devletleri gemileri, Amiral de Robben'in emriyle akşam üzeri Çanakkale Boğazı'ndan çekilir.
Seyit, sen miydin? Vurdun gemiyi. Allah'ın izniyle evvelallah kumandan.
Sırada kara harekatı varmış.
Very different, having foreign voices doing English, I don't know, soldiers, sailors or whatever. We'll have a little bit of a nosy around these and we'll have to move on. That was quite good, that. It was quite good. Strange, because one of the things that I actually read was they didn't stop firing, but the thing that I've actually just read while I've been here is they only fired 33 shots. So I don't think we can go into any of these. No, they're all locked. I'll have a look up here. But it was quite good. It was an interesting film. I thought it was reasonably easy to follow. I'm sure I've seen them. The fella that's carrying the big shell, there's a monument somewhere. I am absolutely sure that that would be him. So we'll. You can. Right, we'll have a walking up onto the top of one of these fortifications. We'll have a walk around and see what kind of view they had on the straits, but I do know we didn't get all the way, I'm saying up here with the soldiers. They were pinned down on the beaches in the south, which we'll see if we can get down to have a look at a couple of those. Out of breath again. Sorry. Wow. So the British ships made it as far as here then. I know this is the narrowest point, and this is specifically aiming at the narrowest point. They only had a couple of guns that would reach. There must have been quite small, the ones that the other ones that they had. But that's really good. Remember the video that you just watched? Well, I thought there was a monument somewhere on there, and I'll read you what it says about him. So this is about Corporal Sayet, and that's in there. So it's quite a good likeness to the guy that played the thingy part. It says Corporal Sayet was just one of the Turkish soldiers who proved that Çanakkale is impenetrable during the naval attack on the Dardanelles. Carried 3 artillery shells, one by one, on his back, weighing 140, 190 and 215 kilos to load the gun at the fort he was serving with, and thus he enabled him to continue firing. Actually, it was not the shell of any weight Corporal Sayet lifted on that day, but it was a Turkish the Turkish nation's hopes. So this strait is where all the ships come up and follow this all the way up, and then you get the entrance into the Black Sea. Straits of the Dardanelles. Very important also at the moment, I think, with the what's going on with Russia. Don't think it was his shell that sunk the ship, so I think it looked like it was one of the mines that had been set. Okay, we've now seen a couple of things to do with the Turkish side. We're now heading for a cemetery with a VC winner in it. So that's obviously going to be on our side. He's the only VC winner on this campaign where they know where his body, that it's his body. So he was buried where he fell. So it's quite an important one. If I remember off the top of my head, his name is Wiley, I think his surname is. I think he was a captain or something like that. A ranking officer. I've found it a bit difficult to find out exactly what he did. Well, maybe it'll tell us, possibly, at his grave. A couple of the ones in Belgium, they tell you sometimes on the grave what they received the VC for. posthumously obviously means he was dead when he got that.
Do it, Jim.
Anyway, it's a stunning drive. Beautiful coastal road. Crystal clear sea. Say if we have another world war, this will come a very important place again.
That's like blue it is.
Yeah. Being as the fact that each shipping and everything takes you directly through into the Black Sea, which then is Russia, Crimea, Ukraine, Eastern Bloc area, should we say. So if we were to be at war again, I assume that this would be a very strategic place to be in control of. Now it's only about 20-25 kilometres from where we were, that fort, down to the very, which is the tip, which would be Gallipoli, where most of the troops were landed up and around that point. When they didn't get very far in, I think they were pretty much pinned down on the beach. My history's correct. Churchill was blamed for it. It was his idea. I think I've already said he wanted to try and knock A, Turkey out of the war, B, put pressure at this side of the world, which would ease the Western Front, and also if we could get control over this strait, then we can control a lot of what would have been the goods that are going to Russia and coming out of Russia, and support the Eastern Front. However, when they got here and they landed, although, say, Churchill got the blame for it, I think a lot of it comes down to the generals that were here at the time, those in charge of the troops. When they landed on the very tip, there was no opposition. There was nothing at all. And instead of trying to work their way inland, they didn't. They decided to unload all the ships, get everything on the shore, and then when they got everything, then they would move inland. But the thing was, is they gave the Turks time to come down and then set up a defence, which ultimately defeated the Allies and drove them back into the sea. I think they tried to skip around the Turks by coming further around on the peninsula, like jumping a bit further around and coming in round behind them. But I think things like that was, I think that was a similar thing. They got on the land, and instead of advancing, they didn't. They tried to empty all the ships and get everybody ashore and get all the goods and all the ammunition and everything, and miss their opportunity. Around to the war memorial, and we've just come across that, which is obviously a Turkish soldier, part of a memorial. I think there's another one in the square there. Anyway, we're heading round to the war graves thing now, so, or one of them. There are an awful lot round here, so this is where we're heading. This Doughty Wiley grave. So this is the grave of Doughty Wiley. This is where he fell. Okay, this is about all I can actually find about him. Lieutenant Colonel Charles Hotham Montague Richard Doughty Wiley. CMG was a British Army officer and an English recipient of the Victoria Cross, the highest award for gallantry in the face of the enemy that can be awarded to members of the British and Commonwealth Armed Forces. And this is where he fell. He was aged 46, 26th of April 1915. So okay, so we're going to go down now, which is not far from Doughty Wiley's grave up there, down to the beach cemetery, which is this way. Now, if I remember rightly, I mean, they were pretty much pinned on or pinned down on the beach. I think where Doughty Wiley got to was probably about as far as they actually got. They didn't get far, maybe a bit further inland than that, but we're right down near the peninsula now, right down on the corner. Some gun is in somebody's backyard, from what I can tell.
I think it is some kind of an art gallery.
Thank you.
20 TL to get in.
We tried to find that beach cemetery. We've been all the way down to the beach and we just couldn't find it at all. So we'll onwards and upwards and see if we can find some other ones. We've only got this afternoon, and tomorrow I think we're going to spend a bit of time in the national park. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Okay, we've come to the LS War Memorial. So I will spend a bit of time reading what it says. It says the Allied objectives in the Gallipoli campaign were, by capturing Istanbul, to force Turkey out of the war, to secure an ice-free sea supply route to Russia and to open up another front against Germany and Austria-Hungary. The campaign fell into 4 phases, the first being the naval operations of early 1915, culminating on the 15th of March in the unsuccessful attempt by battleships to force the Dardanelles. The second was to landings beginning on 25th of April by British and French armies on Cape Helles, which is where we are now, and by the Australian and New Zealand Army Corps, the Anzacs. On the Anzac beaches, some headway, although at heavy cost, was made from the Helles landings in operations extending to the 5th of June, but the precipitous and strongly defended terrain limited to a kilometre the penetration from the Anzac landings. In the third phase, further British landings to the north of Anzac and at Sulva Bay on the 6th of August, simultaneously with offensives mounted from both the Helles with the offensives of the Anzacs. Make a bit of sense that. Anyway, so from down here, from this point, on the beaches below, is where British, French, Australian and New Zealand troops landed. This is a memorial to those. This is called Helles. This is the Helles Monument. Now, all these places are looked after by the War Graves Commission. We'll go up and have a read of what it says on there, and then I'll take you around the names. So it says on the bottom there, lest we forget, 25th of April 2015. So that would be 100 years from then. So this, which is a huge memorial, says Royal Navy battleships Agmelnon, Albion, Canopus, Cornwallis, Exmouth, Glory, Goliath, Hibernia, Implacable, Irresistible, London, Lord Nelson, Majestic, Mars, Ocean, Prince George, Prince of Wales, Queen, Queen Elizabeth, Russell, Swiftsure, Triumph, Venerable, Vengeance, Zealandia, and battle cruisers, Inflexible, and cruisers, Bacchante, Blenheim, Cornwall, Edgar, Ediminion, Euralis, Grafton, and Theseus. And it says at the bottom, in honoured memory of the units and ships which fought on Gallipoli or in the Dardanelles, and of these 20,504 British sailors and soldiers and 248 Australian soldiers who fell in this neighbourhood 1914 to 1916 and have no graves. So what we'll do is show you the monument, and then we'll have a walk around of all of the names that there is, which we've done this before at so what's that, Royal Navy machine, submarines, balloon ships, Sutherland. Okay, so now we've got is those that died on HT Sutherland, HMT Merchant, Lincolnshire Yeomanry, military police. So the glory glory in God and a reverent memory of these 15 men of the Australian Imperial Force drowned in the Southland transport which was torpedoed on the 2nd of September 1915. Of these, 143 officers and men of the forces of the United Kingdom drowned in the minesweeper Hythe, which was sunk by collision on the 28th of October 1915. And of these, 29 men of the forces of the United Kingdom drowned in the Mercian transport, which was attacked by a submarine on 3rd of November 1915, all of whom have no other grave than the sea. That discovereth deep things out of darkness, and bringeth out to light the shadow of death. So we won't read any more. We'll kind of run round the names. So there's some there. There are these here. So they haven't even mentioned the Indian. And there is quite a small representation for those that died in Belgium, so they don't really get recognised the same. But there's the Gurkhas that were here. So I think this is a list of the battalions and such like that were here. Burma Military Police. These are all those that died. Mule Corps. More Gurkhas. 10th Gurkha Riflemen lost an awful lot of troops here. That just seems to... Sikhs. More Gurkhas. First North Midland. Tenth Irish, 53rd Welsh, 11th Northern. This is like listing the regiments again. So in some places they're listing the names and some places they aren't. Gurkhas again. I mean, all these lost their lives. Not only that, they don't know where the graves are. The Sikhs. I think a lot of the ones that's listed within this part of the memorial tend to be, I said that, it's the 2nd Australian Division. These are all represented here. Well, seen a few names, mostly Gurkhas, Sikhs, a few Australians, Army Medical Corps, Service Corps, Essex Regiment. I mean, the names we're looking at, even though there's an awful lot of listings for ships and such like that, they're also around this monument. So I'm gonna walk you around. I'll have to go down the steps. I don't want to miss anybody out. So here we go. I'll just keep running them down and up. Can we find a Hodgkin on there? There's a Hodge from Royal Engineers. These are all Royal Engineers, Royal Scots. These are all Royal Scots. All of these. The Queen's, Royal Lancaster, Northumberland, Royal Warwicks, Royal Fusiliers. King's Liverpool Regiment, Norfolk Regiment, Norfolk Regiment. I mean, I'm just going to show you down the side. This is all around all four sides, by the way. Norfolk, Lincolnshire. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. I mean, there's a Yorkshire Regiment. Let's see if there's a Hodgkin on here, shall we? A, B, C, E, H, no. I think the Hodgkins, when you look back, are generally tend to be mariners. Lancashire Fusiliers. I'm going to be here all day if I didn't go fast enough. There's no way you could read all these names. This is just one monument. This is the monument for those that fell here, okay, at Helles, which is this southern tip of well, I suppose you'd call it Gallipoli, Dardanelles. Down this side, Royal Enniskillings, Gloucestershire Regiment, Worcester, East Lancs, Wellington Border, Royal Sussex, Hampshire, I mean, it's such a crazy loss of life. I mean, me and Christine walked from the, or Christine and I should I say, walked from the village down the road to have a look at the Wiley's War Grave. There's the other side, Wiley's War Grave, and it points you to another war grave which is at the beach, and I can tell you that's a fairly steep hill down there. We couldn't find the war graves for that, but it was a steep hill to get down. I mean, if they were on this beach, and this is where they were pinned down, this is where all of these people lost their lives. These are the ones that they have no graves for. Oh, there's some space. However, there are these. And this brings us right the way back to the beginning. So truly amazing, and they would have had to fight up this hill, which is basically, it's a steep hill. I wouldn't call it a cliff as such, but a very steep hill. That monument was about 100 yards that way, and this is what was to meet them when they were trying to get ashore. So this is a, I don't know, call it a fort, a bastion, similar to what we saw further up the road. So we'll have a little bit of a look and see what this one's about. Don't think you can get in, I don't know.
Should be free though.
It says Forte to Grow. Don't the southern side of Hill 144, lying towards the V Beach, facing the sea, being one of the 4 fortresses tasked with defending the entrance to the Straits. It was built as a result of the efforts of Asif Pasha in the 1890s. The fort consists of 3 bonnets, 2 artillery platforms placed in between them. Fort Airtugulf was one of the main targets of the Allied fleet during the beginning phase of the Gallipoli campaign. It was heavily bombarded between February 19th and the 25th, 1915, as a battery attached to the 1st Heavy Artillery Battalion of the 5th Heavy Artillery Regiment in the establishment of the Dardanelles Fortified Area Command. Fort Airtugulf scored 7 hits on the British battleship HMS Agamemnon within a span of 15 minutes during the early moments of the naval attack occurring on the 25th of February 1915. Despite this success in the beginning, it was impossible to resist any further against the superior firepower of 12 enemy ships, including 8 British and 4 French, and the guns of Fort Airtugulf were silenced forever at around 2:40 in the afternoon. And there you go, it's some old photographs. So this was a defence which was absolutely, well, I'd say obliterated, because it's here, but it must have been hell here with all them ships just out there in that thing. There's a grave here, which I'm sure this is to commemorate, it doesn't say who, but I'm sure this will be to do with the people that were actually here. Well, let's go and have a look up at the gun. Gun emplacement. I'll do that. I'll do this first. I mean, they were big. Unbelievable in size. I'll just get up to the rope, give you an idea of what they were, where they were shooting, and I suppose, if you think about it, similar to where them ships are now, I would have thought. But these, how do you fight your way up here? This is just inside, so there's a photograph of those that were tasked with defending this peninsula. We're right down here, so Hellas is right down there in that corner. Where we were earlier, those narrows, them straits there, were there. That's where the we were earlier on. HMS Agamemnon, Triumph, Irresistible, Queen Elizabeth. Well, now you can see. So this is taken from the land, probably up here on the somewhere. And there's the ships that they would have been shooting down on. There's a photo down on the beaches. So this is where the British Anzacs and would have been. I mean, they're just shooting down on you. Wow.
This way.
there now. Oh, it's been up there. Oh, is it? Oh, right. I'm informed there's another room. So, going inside another one of these bastions. That's an aerial photo. Wow. There's some of the Allies landing stuff. There's the beach. So this is part of where the Allies landed, and then they've got to work their way and fight their way uphill. I mean, it must have been, and it don't look very steep, but I'm telling you, it is really, really steep. So I think
Aha da bunlar almaya çalışırken kendileri yerle bir olmuşlar.
Hang on a minute. Might be easier to see from an Allies perspective. So there's a ship dropping supplies off. There's the beach war cemetery, just down there, you can see in the distance. And what we've got here are some trenches. So that would have been there, would have been put there so you can shoot down on the British and the Allies coming in. There's a cemetery here. I'm not sure yet whether we're looking at what would be a Turkish one or a Commonwealth one. I mean, I shouldn't say Allies really, it's Commonwealth. So I think this is yeah, these are war graves for the Turkish. Beautifully kept, I must admit. I would assume that I'm only guessing that these are the ones that they, well, you wouldn't know where the bodies were, similar to what we do. And then they have this monument in front of us as well. Turkish soldiers charging, by the looks of what that's depicting to me. Got some more trenches here that the trees probably wouldn't have been there, but would have given you a nice view down for you to shoot down onto the British. There's no wonder it was bombed quite heavily by naval ships, and I suppose there's no wonder there was such a horrific, massive loss of life for the Allies as well. There is what we had put up for our coastal defences, a very similar one here, which I'm presuming they would have had machine guns in here, in these, for strafing the beach. We've come from there. There's the Hells landing point. This is about what they think a class as 500 metres up the road from it. I think they called it Hill 114, I think they called it. Lancashire landing. So the 29th Division landed along this coast on the morning of April the 25th, 1915. Now, when we're in Belgium, there's usually a place for a book on the entrance, but there doesn't seem to be one on these war graves. So what we're going to do is we'll have a look at the main memorial at the front, and then we're going to see if we can find a private Kahili is who we're going to look for. Now, oh, there's one that's got Captain Harold T. Corley, Manchester Regiment. So somebody's actually been and placed a poppy there, so he's obviously still remembered. Some lavender growing on here. The war graves are always fantastic. They're different. These, I must admit, are different to the ones that you get in around where on the Western Front, but nonetheless it's very beautiful. Their name liveth on forevermore. So we'll start at the far end, and we'll see if we can, how long it takes us to find him. Kahili. Kahili. Yeah. Oh, I have to get my shadow on them to read them. There should be a picture of the Victoria Cross on it, so it shouldn't just be a cross. No, that's true. Now, he was just a private. I'll save you just show you the cemetery.
Thomas Healy?
Grave, which is here. There. W.S. Keneally VC, Lancashire Fusiliers, 29th of June 1915, age 29. And there's the Victoria Cross, which distinguishes him from other graves. While we look around, I won't dwell so much on his grave in particular, but turn it off a minute.
Turn it off.
Yeah, my phone's gone all bloody. Right, I've managed to find the information I'm looking for. So, on the 25th of April 1915, west of Cape Helles, Gallipoli, Ottoman Turkey, Keneally was 28 years old when he performed an act of bravery for which he was awarded the Victoria Cross. On the 25th of April 1915, 3 companies and the headquarters of the 1st Battalion Lancashire Fusiliers in effecting a landing on the Gallipoli Peninsula to the west of Cape Helles. That's, I don't know if you could see it anymore. Cape Helles was just over there. See if I can... no, just can't quite see them on it, but it's not far over there. Gallipoli Peninsula to the west of Cape Helles were met by very deadly fire from hidden machine guns, which caused a great number of casualties. The survivors, however, rushed up to and cut the wire entanglements, notwithstanding the terrific fire from the enemy, and after overcoming supreme difficulties, the cliffs were gained and the position maintained. Amongst the many very gallant officers and men engaged in the most arduous undertaking, Captain Willis Richards and Private Keneally have been selected by their comrades as having performed the most single act of bravery and devotion to duty. Keneally was one of the 6 members of the regiment elected by their colleagues in the regiment for the award and described in the press as 6 VCs before breakfast. Lieutenant General Sir Ian Hamilton, the overall Allied Army commander in Gallipoli, ordered that the beach be renamed Lancashire Landing because of his conviction that no finer feat of arms has ever been achieved by a British soldier or any other soldier than the storming of these beaches. The other 5 members of the regiment who received the award as a result of the landing were Cuthbert Bromley, John Elisha Grimshaw, Alfred Jones Richards, Frank Edward Stubbs and Richard Raymond Willis. Shortly after, he was promoted to corporal, then lance sergeant. He was seriously wounded in the Battle of Gully Ravine on the 28th of June 1915 and died the next day. Keneally is buried at Lancashire Landing Cemetery on the Gallipoli Peninsula. So this is where it is. There is something else about this. There are a few extra graves that were brought here after the war. There are 135 of these graves are of soldiers or sailors that nobody knows who they are. However, of the 135, 10 of them, they know that they are definitely one of that 135. So there's 135 buried here that have no name to them, and 10 that do, but may not necessarily be that person. But they are beautifully kept cemeteries. Doesn't matter where we've been, all the cemeteries have been absolutely stunning, beautifully kept. The Turkish one's the same, although I'm presuming the Turkish government keep theirs. There we go. This is the 10, so believed to be A.V. Marsland, C.R. Brooks, P. Valeris, W.G. Silence, E.G. Smith, T. Rance, Jacob Botman, W. Price. He was Jewish. Jacob Botman, W. Price, G.R. Hughes and W.K. Hill. So these are believed to be their graves. So in here apart from these 10 are another 125 that they don't know who they are. I'm just stood outside of the cemetery now. You can see Hells, which is that hill just over there with that large monument on. These fellas came up here. I mean, I can't get down there. I mean, they're proper fields, and fought their way up from down there till they got to what would have been a hidden machine gun nest, and then I think all hell let loose then. We're inland a little bit now. This one is called Redoubt Cemetery. Although there doesn't look to be too many in there, I'll tell you a little bit about it. The cemetery is named after the Redoubt Line, a chain of strong points built by the Ottoman forces across the southern end of the peninsula during the battles for Krithia. The cemetery was started by the 2nd Australian Infantry Brigade in May 1915 and continued to be used throughout the campaign until the evacuation in January 1916. After the war, many graves were moved into it from the surrounding area, and it was consequently enlarged to the current 2,037 graves.
Wow.
The cemetery also contains an oak tree. That's an oak tree, I think. Yeah, I think. Oh, I don't know. So anyway. The cemetery also contains an oak tree planted by the parents of 2nd Lieutenant Eric Duckworth in 1922. He'd been killed on the 7th of August 1915, but his body was never found. His memorial is unique in the peninsula as the only private memorial located within the Commonwealth Grave Commission cemeteries. I'm thinking that's an oak tree. Kind of looks English, so it's grown a fair bit. Seems to have done well for itself. Well, there, Jewish lad. Christians. It's hard to believe that there's actually over 2,000 in here. If you was asked to say how many was actually in here, you might say, well, a couple of hundred. So 2,035. Now that is a real shame. And I presume the War Graves, Commonwealth War Grave Commission, or beyond that, they must know about it, because it's fenced off. So it looks like an old tree just outside the cemetery has fallen over and onto the monument, which is a bit of a shame. I mean, hopefully it's not done too much damage. I presume they'll be on to move that in the very near future. Such a shame. However, I suppose these things do happen, and it will get cleaned up. I mean, as you can see, they're great at looking after things, and what I always like is, if you look, they're a perfect line. They're all in perfect line. only 4 to go on in a line on there. It's probably more at this end. There you go. Very military. I think you don't tend to really see too many American grave places. There's the only ones that I really know of. There's a big one in Normandy. I think a lot of families want the bodies of the fallen taken home, where I suppose we're all different. Personally, if it was me and I'd fallen here, I think this is where I'd like to be. Amongst those who this one here, there's no cross on it. It says believed to be buried in this cemetery. So there's a name of the person from the Scottish borderers. It says, "O house of many mansions, thy doors are open wide." Some of them are quite good. Gone to higher service. Their glory shall not be blotted out. Let's view with that. Until the day breaks. I mean, just like to be, I suppose, with your comrades. But this as well. Look how straight it is. Beautifully kept. There's 2 on their own over here. So we'll take a look at these. Not really sure why these are here separate. Maybe it'll tell us why. Don't know. Oh, 1987. Private A.G.H. Grant, Scottish borderers. So he was put here very late on, 1987. Both from the same regiment. They're always peaceful places, these cemeteries. They're always quiet. I think Christine's gaining some shade, I think, under the oak tree. Oh, is there a memorial on it? Oh, okay. Oh, get up close, you see it's an oak tree. So there he is. He was never actually found. This was just placed here. So it's just planted in memory of 2nd Lieutenant, I think, Eric Duckworth. Yeah. 87th.
Lancashire Fusiliers.
Yeah, Lancashire Fusiliers. August 7th, 1915. That was when he died. 1922 this was planted.
Wow. Massive.
What a fantastic tree. Very English. Not many, I must admit. When you go to the ones that are closer to home, in Belgium or Flanders, all that kind of thing, you see quite a few graves that are still marked and memorialised, and people have put poppies against and other things. But it's so far away from home here, there's very few that I've seen. I think I've seen one with a poppy and a cross. I mean, there's a flag next to this one and a poppy. So JT Hampshire, 5th Battalion Australian Infantry.
So made poppy and a poppy.
Is that that's his regiment?
Yep.
There's his regiment. Regimental flag. Really nice, peaceful places. Okay, this cemetery is Skew Bridge. This is quite a small one. Like Christine said, there's a British flag already on that one. There. He was a driver. This cemetery has got 607 burials in it, and 351 are unknown. However, there is something that we're going to be looking for in a moment. So, amongst those to be buried in the cemetery is the youngest British soldier to be killed during the campaign, and the youngest Allied serviceman to be buried on the peninsula, and that's drummer Joseph Aloysius Townsend of D Company, 4th Battalion of the East Lancs Regiment. He was 15 when he was killed on the 18th of May 1915. We'll look for his grave in a minute. But the youngest Allied soldier to die on service was an Australian Private James Martin. He was 14 years and 9 months. He contracted typhoid and was evacuated to a hospital ship where he died and was buried at sea. So we're going to take a look and see if we can find Joseph Aloysius. First one of those I've actually come across so far. This Sikh soldier of the Indian Army is honoured here. Ajaib Singh, 14th KG, Ferozeport Sikhs. No. And there he is. And Union Jack, and it looks like the odd poppy, couple of poppies down by it as well. It says believed to be buried in this cemetery. So they're not 100% sure, but they think this is where he is. So sad. I mean, he was only 15 and he couldn't even tell you whether he was actually, this is definitely him or not.
Got a check picture of that already.
Yeah.
Does that have a flag with it?
Yeah. Well, there you go. He was the youngest to die on the peninsula. 15 years old. The baby in arms, really. Hi, this is our park up for the night on here. There's not a lot to talk about, to be fair, but part of the view is pretty cool. What? All that. So We'll just go across to the seafront, water's edge, call it what you want. This guy is so famous round here. I can't tell you how many monuments there are of him. It says while the sea war was very severe, he'd lifted up a 275 kilogram cannonball, put it into a cannon which was a broken crane, and was able to shoot with his friend and hit the battleship Ocean's helm. I think that took the ship into some mines, sea mines. So there we are. We're on there with the gypsies. Never mind. We get a ferry from just down there, look, and I think that takes us across to the other side. So we'll be in when we get over that side, we'll be in Asia. Just going to pop and have a look at this windmill. Yeah. Doesn't look particularly old, to be fair. It's going to have a quick look at it. Which is yeah, really quite cool.